is the Elevated Look Show, hosted by Mark Stampfly.
Well, I mean, I know you as
Yeah.
Darwin
Yeah,
Vanko, but
yeah, you can keep me as Darwin Vanko for now. Yeah.
but whatever for now,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
now. But
Sometimes-
in a week, I gotta change.
Sometimes people call me Davis, so
Okay.
that's like kind of my East Coast name. And then when I came to the West Coast, I was kind of like an experiment, and I deleted my personal Facebook.
I
got
want to
rid
ask
of
you
all
about
my
that.
photos.
I want to ask you about that for
Okay.
sure. 'Cause I think
Yeah,
that's an
so you
interesting
can say
topic.
Darwin Vanko. That's fine.
Okay. Well, Darwin Vanko, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
on the
for having
Elevated
me.
Look Show.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
I'm excited.
Thank you for the gift as well.
Of course,
I'm
of
going to
course.
digest that and definitely get back to you with some questions on kind of what everything all means. Very interesting.
Totally.
But yeah, great to have you here. I guess first off is just kind of catching up a little bit. Like, what have you? I mean, I have things I want to ask you, but like, what have you been up to lately? Like, what's going on in Darwin Vanko's world?
Well, when it comes to artistry, I guess it's probably the gift that I gave you.
Okay.
That's a big part of the last few years. And to be honest, I like making a lot of stuff.
And then for the people who don't really know what the gift is, like,
Oh, yeah.
without like going too deep, like, how would you describe it? I mean,
It's kind of like a fake book that is a strange loop that kind of wraps around back on itself.
okay.
So it's a little bit involved with like the concept is death backwards. So imagine starting at death and then working your way the other way.
Okay,
That's
I like it.
That's kind of
I like it.
that's kind of the bare bones of some of it.
Okay.
So,
and I mean, I just flipped through it, but I could
Yeah.
kind of sense that there was like kind of like some like maybe some poetry and music in there kind of as well.
It's absolutely that. It's about 100 times more than just visuals.
Yeah.
It starts looping into the internet world. It
Okay.
starts looping into Darwin's Playhouse, which is some music that
Okay.
I've been,
Yeah, I
I've
heard it.
been
It was really good.
slowly showing the world.
Okay.
I'm not doing a standard, but for anybody that cares, I've been making music for about 15, 20 years. Probably like anybody who's made music or had a computer back then.
Sure.
It's awesome to make music. Everybody should do it, even if you think you can't make music. So do it. So I've been making music for a long time, and
So yeah, let's start here. I think this is
Yeah,
great because
great.
the music, everyone's always interested in that. Is like so 15 to about 15 years.
18 years ago, yeah.
18 years ago.
18
What
years
what
ago.
got you into it initially?
My buddy, dude, he luckily we were good with computers and knew how to crack software, and this was the time when you could do it. Too.
Yeah.
If you were I guess we're at the beginning of the internet. So
Okay.
we know how the internet works. We know how dangerous it is. You know what I mean? Like adults are like confused sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Even still.
even still, it's
Well,
more
there's always something new,
it's
like
more
NFTs
dangerous now.
and
Yeah,
cryptos
totally,
and all this
totally,
stuff.
totally. So, my buddy showed me this program, and we started getting our feet wet.
What was the program?
Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops.
That's what it's called.
What is that?
Yeah.
What does the program do?
It's you can make music. It was really more of an electronic one.
Okay.
So had a really cool interface, and you just start clicking buttons, and it would like, the beat would be in this little loop, right? And you would click the little buttons, and it would be do 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 right, and you'd have your snares and your
Yeah.
hi hats, and then you kind of learn. I'm just click around the program. Next thing you know, you're exporting a song that sounds awful, but.
But you're
you
getting your
made
feet
it.
wet.
Yeah.
You have to kind of go through those like
Yeah.
trials and
Yeah,
errors to get to.
My
where you
buddy
wanna get.
sent me a song one day, and it was like he used this foghorn, and it was like the main part of his song. And that's all I could remember. It was just so bad and so awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, how did you go? Because I know you from. I met you back in the day. You were playing at one of the biggest. I don't know what to call it, a club, but like lounges.
Yeah,
Like
it's
music
kinda right in
lounges,
there, yeah.
bars, whatever,
Yeah.
club. In really LA at the time. It was one of my favorite spots, the Shortstop,
Yeah,
which we
it
all
was
have good memories
it was a
from.
fun
I know,
spot, man,
maybe
yeah.
some things were not good, but a lot of things
Who
were great.
cares, dude?
A lot of
It
things
was
were great.
Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Come on. When it's,
So I remember meeting you there and listening to your music there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually, funny enough, I think it was one of my friends that kind of had mentioned, I was kind of a little bit new to hanging out in that area, and then she had mentioned, I think hearing you guys, and I'm like, yeah, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you through there, and that was maybe, man, how long ago was that? Was that like 7
7 years.
7
yeah.
years ago,
It
around
was
that?
Probably, yeah. probably got to LA 9 years ago. So
that's crazy.
That's about 7 years ago.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Man, it doesn't seem that long ago, but so how did you go from then, 15, 18 years ago, where you're just kind of starting the software, to where you're playing in like a huge venue and making amazing music? Like, what was the trend? Maybe go through like what was the journey to get to that point?
It was cool, dude. It's always about the love of just, if I find something I like to do, I kind of just like, I'll go in and play around with the program for 9 hours and get lost in it maybe. And that allowed me to, I realized what acapellas were, and if anybody doesn't know, an acapella is just the vocal isolation from the track. And once I realized that you could kind of get different parts of tracks, I started just putting songs together in the program. So you can produce, you can make music in there, which is using the sounds that they give you, or you could take sounds and put them in there and make songs, or you can take a Britney Spears song and take her vocals and put them in there, and then you could put something on top of it. You could put your own beat on top.
Would you call that like mashup music?
Yeah, if you don't do anything to it.
Or is that the right word for what you're saying?
You know what,
because I loved that scene, and that scene was really big, and probably still will be big. In as I think it's getting big again in like Echo Park, especially like Booty LA. That was like mashup, and I really like that kind of music. But would you describe yours as the same?
Yeah, it was. I've had a little tough time describing what it is. I kind of maybe call it like more of a three-dimensional mashup. Only reason I say is because I'll hear other mashups where it's like maybe just 2 or 3 songs, and then what I do is I'll go and I'll produce on top of it. Yeah. So that's typically like a remix.
So you're doing like another layer to it.
But if you leave a lot of the original integrity of the songs you're using, I think that's probably a mashup. But
like it's where, like Booty LA will take like Britney Spears and like Michael Jackson, and it's like 2 songs, and they'll make them work together.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
and
yours
simplicity
is more. Like yours is taking a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, one of my tracks I did probably had like 100 different samples, and I'm talking about micro samples. You got stuff from the 50s, stuff from the 80s. You got some Billy Idol in there. You've got an AC/DC drum kit. So I started going a little deeper. Okay. Nobody notices. Yeah. And I don't really need to tell everybody what I'm doing quite. I think it's kind of the fun, maybe, if you hear some stuff. Yeah. But
I think the more subtle it is, actually, the better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So I started getting into the zone where I was like, can I do all these samples, and actually, can you not recognize any of them? So some of the tracks now that I'll do, I'll actually go and I'll dig the Led Zeppelin drums, and I'll now make my own song out of it, and then add another 500 things in there. Okay. So it's probably the most interesting gray water I've ever dabbled in. Okay. Because I've gotten 15, 18, 20 songs removed off SoundCloud. Yeah,
that was actually one of my next questions to ask. Is I don't know in terms of like the licensing and usage rights in doing something like that. Like, can you I don't even know for like, because like the Booty LA scene is obviously a big scene. Like,
you're not allowed to do this.
So are they illegally taking a Britney Spears and Michael Jackson song and not allowed to use it in a live space?
Mashups are basically illegal. Well, the whole live space question, that's a far different issue.
So live space, it's more acceptable, but if you're posting it to like online,
there's actually a law. I don't know how this works, but if you like own a club, you have to pay like royalties just to have you have to have a radio or a jukebox in there to get around the laws. So you have to like pay music companies. Like now people just play Spotify, so it's kind of okay, but they would have people that would go in and monitor what people are playing and be like, well, you need to pay these companies for the songs that you're playing. So that's a whole situation on its own, minus a DJ coming in and playing whatever they want. Okay. So I think if it has a jukebox in the place, you can do anything you want. Yeah. Okay. But when it comes to live music and DJing, I can pretty much get away with anything.
They're not coming after the person.
I'm not advertising I'm a Michael Jackson mashup DJ. Yep.
But Booty LA does that. They'll put like Britney Spears and Prince's face next to each other and say, hey,
they take it to the extreme and are probably getting away with it as best as they can. Okay. Because I've talked to a couple of the DJs there. I was actually going to try to do like a show one night, but they're just kind of the super straight lane stuff.
They're doing their same thing every kind of,
Yeah.
because that's what people, I guess, expect and they want to mess with it. But
yeah.
So there's that. So there's a little bit more leeway. But then when you're posting, so you're taking like a song, even if you're doing like 500 different things in one, you're posting it to SoundCloud. Is it?
I mean, I pretty much figured out the algorithms a while back on how they would take the tracks down. So I would just like, I would actually have a dummy account, post all my stuff there, see if it would get taken down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good idea.
When you almost get your account deleted, that's when you get a couple scares. Yeah. No, but it got to the point where I just wanted to make different music. You know, like you get to a point where you're like, I mean, I could always do this, and I have fun doing it. It's exciting, but it gets pretty boring sometimes with just taking what people already know. Yeah. You know, I mean, I can always do it, and I can forever go and DJ a bunch of songs, and I could find new hot songs and mix them with old hot songs. Really, it's just popular music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you could just go do your research from
if you're staying up on the trends.
Go
and
do
stuff,
your
you
research from the 50s
what...
up until now.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say you're gonna start getting lost around 2010.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't dabble. I'd probably pick maybe 3 songs a year after 2010.
Yeah.
And only touch those 3, and they got to be perfect songs.
Is that because like the music has kind of
saturation?
Gone
but it's every artistry, everything.
Yeah.
How many Etsy shops are there? How many?
Yeah.
Everybody's an artist, and I think that's beautiful. But I mean that shakes
also
everything.
The saturation level is, and the quality level drops when there's. It's good and bad. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
You know.
So I do want to ask you a little bit more about like current music, but before that even, because you were like a very successful DJ, or still are, kind of still in that space too, would you say you're still actually going hard in that space, or you're transitioning more out of there?
I've lessened.
Okay, lessened that.
There's a whole ego aspect to it too, and I don't want that. I enjoy making people happy, and that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And most all the shows I've ever done, I've seen the happiest people, and I've been happy. So I think that's a beautiful place to be.
So will you be doing any more? Will it be more like on a request basis?
It's just on a request basis, and I love it. Yeah.
Because you were doing like the what was it called? The rewind.
Be kind of rewind.
That
was a fun one.
Is that something you want to get now that things are opening up? You want to do again, or is it something like only if you're asked you'll do?
Not really. I did that, and it was fun, and like,
I liked it. I enjoyed them.
It's great, right? But like there comes a point where like I don't know. It's just I've got like 100 other party ideas, right? And I've got better party ideas.
But so you go back and would you go back into the DJ space and do
I
that?
would go back and create custom parties again, like Free Grilled Cheese, because custom parties
Free Grilled
are
Cheese. We haven't
far
even touched
cooler.
on that. Yeah.
And
I love that.
And it's not. So there's music and then there's an experience, right? Okay,
Absolutely.
You can DJ a 90s party all the fuck you want. And guess what? I can do that, but I only got like 500 dope, good tracks.
Sure.
And if you go to any 90s party, I guarantee you're going to hear Aaliyah like 5 times. We're going to hear the hits, but that's what everybody wants. So you can't just have a 90s party and not have your 200
But when you
samples.
play things that are maybe less... It's kind of interesting, and it's like, oh wow, I haven't heard that in a while. Like I like it. Or you guys were putting visuals up with it, which is cool.
But once you start going to those levels, and 2 people notice after 6 months, you start to question, well, where does the care level?
Sure.
And I noticed LA's care level pretty much stops at one little area.
Yep.
You know. Minus being an artist, and like, you know, where the artist like, oh my God, we can't wait to see what this artist does when they do a show. It's gonna be so new and revolutionary, and there's gonna be a half-naked man that comes out, and he's gonna be sideways, and whoa, that's a show, you know?
I think it's all, you know, it's interesting because I've been in film like since I was in junior college.
Yeah.
And I always thought, even back then, one of the questions I always asked myself was, well, you know, there's this sense of like being a pure artist and doing exactly whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But then there's another side of it is like, well, what's the audience size for that? Like, am I doing this thing for one person? Am I doing this thing for 100 people? Or like how many people are going to see this?
It's the yin and yang that comes with, first off, there's being a DJ, right?
Yeah.
That's not an artist. Also, artist is such a silly word, really, to kind of lump in, right? But the DJ is there to make the people in the room, to look at the room and be like, okay, what's everybody in here looking like? I got to get the majority of people dancing. That's your only goal.
Okay.
So
getting the vibe, getting the feelings, the
like
the energy.
I got hired for a few weddings. I was like, I never want to do this again, but like, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to play Bruno Mars. Like, that's what people
Is
like.
that the wedding? Is that the
what do
wedding
you
track
mean?
of
What,
the-
Uptown Funk? Imagine
yeah,
mixing
yeah.
that in with like Michael Jackson. It's like the same beat, and everyone's like, oh, everyone's losing it. Then you play Shout, and you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's
Despacito is always the one that's
Sure.
now. I feel like
Yeah.
I go to like a wedding or something, and honestly, it does kind of get me dancing. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's-
but at the same time, I'm like, oh god, this is like this song is still going. Like this.
But
is
the thing is, it gets 20 people around you dancing, and then you get a smile on your face because you see, you know what I mean?
see the joy and the
it's so
energy.
much more
It's good.
subconscious,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, than we really think. And that's where popular music for me has kind of driven me away.
Yeah.
I've been so embedded with pop music my whole life. I like it. I've got friends that are pop people.
But
you
you're
know?
around it all. Like you're getting it so much.
Yeah,
that it's, like,
and so I'm like, well,
repetitive.
Yeah, and it got to a point where I was like, I'm gonna make my own style of pop music.
Yeah.
And that's what I spent the past 6 years working on.
I like that.
Yeah.
So is that something like you know, going back to like Free Grilled Cheese? Those parties were amazing. I went to a lot of them. I didn't go to all of them, but I went to a lot of them, and
one of the few.
they were fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, they were
right.
amazing. Like incorporating the food, the visuals, the
it's
music. You had big people there too. You had
Different,
some big players in the
Different
industry
style,
there.
different style of party, and it was an awesome. It's so much fun to throw that type of party because we came up with it ourselves. We came up with a name, and we knew that we didn't want it to be.
Okay.
Like, if you've ever been, you probably know any of the fucking songs that anyone played. And they were just electronic artists, and everyone was having fun.
Yeah.
So there's a different dimension.
Yeah, they weren't like because there were big people at these
big electronic artists.
huge electronic artists. I mean,
Exactly.
mega.
Exactly.
And I don't remember they weren't playing. I don't remember them playing their known.
They don't play pop music.
Yeah.
And that's just not what it is.
Yeah.
You know? So
Which was cool though. That was.
But that was the point of the party.
Yeah.
It was more of a music head type of thing. We're all kind of like, if somebody wants to jump in, you know, that the whole B2B, you know, vibe, that the whole electronic, the electronic DJ world is like, that's where like it gets away from turntables and it gets on like CDJs. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but anybody who does music will kind of get it. But
Well, maybe for the people who don't know, like what exactly is
yeah,
that
I
then?
mean, like turntables were around for a while, and then people started scratching them in the 80s and 90s, and then when I first started DJing, I wanted to get turntables, and they pretty much have Serato and other things like that, where you can just connect your laptop up and then scratch digital
scratching.
So I like that because you can control the turntable. I wasn't good at scratching. I would scratch it and it sounded cool. So I just like, yeah, this is sweet. People think people don't know anything out there, right?
Yeah.
But I did see A-Track one time live, just like at an after party here, and there's like 5 people around him. He was just like all over it. He was like mixing Beastie Boys, and I was like, yeah, that's how you do it. So, but CDJs is where you can plug in a USB.
Okay.
And they're little smaller little discs, and for me, when I see that, it usually locks the person into a BPM a bit more than it would than a turntable. So the turntables, I like the fact that I could do a record stop and like play another song.
When you say it locks you into the BPM, like you have more control over the...
No, when I DJ, I like to... BPM, for a lot of people that don't know, is just like beats per minute. A lot of dance songs are like 120. A lot of hip hop is like 90 to 100. Trap and dubstep, all that stuff was about 70 or 140. So...
Oh, specifically like 70, like specific numbers.
Yeah, that's usually
that.
all the dubstep is about 70. And if you go listen to it, it's like...
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
So it's like...
I didn't know they locked in specifically the styles.
It's not locked in.
But you know what I mean. Like,
but you're not going to hear a dubstep song. You're probably not at 110.
Okay.
And...
but you would at 140.
Yeah, because it's double 70. So
okay.
I could mix in a really fast song with a dubstep song at half speed. So what I like to do when I do my DJ sets is I'll do like a loop around the BPMs.
Okay.
So I'll kind of start at hip hop, and then depending on where everybody feels, like I'm moving quick, but I'm keeping the speed, right? Because there's like an internal speed going behind everybody, right?
Yeah.
And you've probably heard DJs just like change a song, and there's a different song, and you're like, whoa, vibe's different, you know? So you've got the vibe, which is first off, that I want to like try to keep my 3 to 4 songs that I'm going to mix either similar vibe, maybe it's a remix of a 90s song, and I do.
You don't want to jump too far, like.
Yeah, but I'll jump if I need to. Sometimes people are like, dude, we don't like what you're playing.
Sure.
So maybe I'll just drop a hot song.
Okay.
You know, but when I'd see people on CDJs, I'd look away, then 20 minutes later they'd be at the same BPM still. And they usually just do that because you have a limited view on your little scroll bar.
Okay.
And most people, they're only up there for half an hour, 45 minutes anyway, so they're kind of just doing like a little house mix. And it's great. It's really pretty stuff. When you have a good, smooth mix, it's great. Maybe you don't need to change BPMs, you know, but for me, and I'm just sporadic, and I think everybody likes a little change real quick, and then you hear some weird noises, and, you know, so yeah.
Okay. So what is, like, if you're going to do these, can you tease, like, do you have any kind of idea for, like, your next, like, music party or music-themed kind of experience that you want to do?
It probably wouldn't be, like, pop music forward. It would be more of, like, an ambiance, like an atmosphere type of situation.
Okay.
So I'd probably create an atmosphere that, like, you would walk into. One of them I thought of was a way to help eliminate phones from the situation. A party called Airplane Mode. And
I like that a lot,
you have a
man.
security guard at the front, and he says no phones. And if you decide to break the rule, you know, probably somebody inside would just tell you to sit off to the side and maybe don't come back in.
So how would you just, everyone has to
Airplane mode.
So you keep your phone with you, but you just
keep your phone with you, airplane mode.
Because it's hard for like people to like, you know, hand over their phone or leave it in the car.
It's not going to be a hand over the phone. We went to.
It's more of like a just mutually understood.
Yeah,
like, rule.
We went to a Jack White's band, one of his bands. We went to a show. No. It's one of his newer ones. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It was awesome.
Okay.
And they made you put your phone in a locked sack that you held on to.
Interesting. And they don't give you the key back until you leave or something?
No, it's like a magnetic thing, right?
That's awesome.
And exactly. And like, I remember seeing that after I was thought of this. It's not like it's a genius idea or anything. It's for older people, I think it makes more sense. And for younger people. I mean, the phones are a massive issue.
Well, just like, you know, just from my own perspective, I mean, I go back and forth because part of me is like, well, I mean, honestly, like being at a concert, I just think you're missing so much by not being present.
Yeah.
You're missing so much in just not being present at the situation. Like people just aren't.
I mean, I haven't really taken photos, videos, or anything in my life in probably the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she does.
Yeah.
My beautiful partner does. So she hates taking that, but like also I'm present in every moment. I'm not on my phone. I don't need to take photos where I go. I don't even care about them anymore. I care nothing about a photo because the moment's almost so much more important.
See, like just to kind of debate a little bit with that, because I know, you know, get a little friendly debate in here. I agree with that 100%. Like I do I love being present. I think people are more leaning on not being present. But for me, just as a creator, I like the idea of sharing value with people, taking something, not to show that, hey, look at me, I'm at the U2 concert, I'm cool. Yeah. More so just to be like, well, hey, can I take like a video that hasn't really been shown and give people a cool angle or make a picture that's gonna like give somebody something. Like that's kind of more, I like that. I like trying to create or tell a story more from that angle. Yeah. Like not the motivation of like, hey, look how cool I'm at the U2 concert, but hey, like how cool can I make this photo? Like how high level can I make this? Yeah. So that's my argument for doing it, but I totally get the other side too.
It's a great argument because, but what I'm seeing now is everybody is doing it for what they think is everyone else.
Sure.
But in reality, they're doing it for themselves, and it's
Sure.
going to get overlooked in 5 seconds when people go and scroll past your video
That's
on
true.
everything they're on. So I'm not sure the attention span's even there for anyone to even care about what I'm doing.
Sure.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
that's where
I think they would though. I would, dude. I'd follow your social media. I would.
Thanks. I bet some people would. But I haven't had social media for
Because you have a
7
unique
years,
perspective on it too. So it's
Yeah.
like you're not like the generic Joe Schmo that's posting regular.
But since I'm not
stuff.
in it, like it's great. It has its limits, but also like I had an issue with when I was first getting started, my SoundCloud and my Facebook pages. I was like, it was all organic growing, and then I was like, that's actually when I moved to LA, because I was like, oh, I can actually do this. I'm getting flown to some shows.
Yeah.
This makes some sense. I'm not too crazy of an idiot. Whatever. I'm just gonna do it. Who really cares in life? Give it a shot. We're just gonna.
Because like your developed brand blew up pretty good.
Kind of. And as that was happening, I remember one day I was on Facebook, and I don't know, 20, 30,000 likes right in that area, and
that's really good.
I was posting, I don't know, once every few days like you should.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty good.
I don't know, you're getting 600, 800 likes. And I was like, okay, people are following, they're paying attention. I think I can make this happen. And I remember the next day I posted, and this is when Facebook changed their percentages on how much it would show.
Yeah, it's not the best place.
They took away 99%.
Wow.
Of I got 3 likes on any post
That's crazy.
after that.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, it's really bad now.
And so, no, but seeing that happen, I realized I just didn't want to do it anymore. I completely stopped everything.
Yeah.
And because I paid them once too. I was like, well, let me pay
to market a little bit.
I guess, but then I'm like,
did you pay for like marketing a show, or what was the?
No, it was like
see how
occasionally I would market if I had a show or an upcoming show, but like it got to the point where I was like, well, I guess they have to make money. Like I understand that, but it was such a drastic move that it literally canceled anything I ever cared about.
Yeah.
And then I would see other people in the industry that would just come for money and put 30 grand on there, make them look big, buy all the SoundCloud plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it all happen. I never did that. I never bought SoundCloud plays. I never bought followers.
I'm not familiar with the.
Oh, you can buy anything.
But the follower buy is a horrible decision though. Like I don't know. Oh, SoundCloud. Okay, I get it, because it's like buying like. Yeah. It's like similar. So you're just like getting. But the thing is, the problem with that is you're not organically building your audience, so you're not getting the people who truly want to listen or follow you.
I'll go ahead and say
it's a horrible idea.
70% of the people don't care. And they are those types of people, and that's also why
they should care. That's
also
horrible.
why. Look, you're talking about a dark question here, and I've seen some of these people, and that's all you can do these days.
Yeah.
It's only about numbers. It's only about how many plays you have. It's never.
But it's not though.
Thanks.
It's not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, they're doing it so
But
wrong.
every day it would get thicker and deeper and worse, and I just didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want to be a part of those algorithms. I didn't want to be a part of. I'm not here to compete with my friends.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're in a competitive-driven country.
But you're not even competing like in a way, because it's just like I said,
But
it's fake.
but
It's
I
not-
am. I know it's fake.
Yeah.
I know, but it doesn't matter. I remember
matters.
there's so many times they'd be like, well, like, you have to have 40K on Twitter. You have
Like
to
if
have
you're
these
selling
followers
merchandise, for instance, and which is a great way for a band to make money.
Yeah.
The person who bought 100,000 followers, but they bought all their followers, versus somebody who just from like
It's not
a
about
year or
that.
two.
I see that they have 100,000 followers. Ooh, maybe I should like them. And then they get their 30,000 real quick. Then they get
Well,
their
then maybe
50,000.
there is some merit to that. Then I guess if they're gonna get their true followers, I don't know. I don't know
if that's a true follower. I don't know if that's a true
for
follower.
me, from what I've seen, like, because I actually, because I help people like market different products or accounts or brands.
Sure.
And I've analyzed a lot of people that have asked for help. And I'm like, do you know that your photos are most of your followers are fake, because you're only getting like 5 likes per photos, but it shows you have 100,000 followers.
Exactly.
So you're better off just do not pay for followers.
Yeah.
Build it organically. Let the people who like your stuff come.
Yeah.
If they want to buy your stuff, they'll buy your stuff. I want to just jump back just to kind of finish off on the whole DJ side of things. I was just curious. what would you say to people just starting off? Like become like with like, man, I like this. I want to get into being a DJ.
Yeah.
Is there any like kind of advice you would give to this generation?
The only advice I would give is probably stay away from the internet. It's really sad. It's really tough. It's such a saturated world that the younger the person is, the further they are behind, right? Like, I'm like completely behind now, and I even have a following, right? SoundCloud's gonna die in the next couple years if it's not already dead. Their emails don't even work when I send them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that like when that goes down, I don't know if they'll take their servers offline. You know, I know it costs money to keep servers on, so that's the next step. I don't think they have any infrastructure, and they just let the build do
Somebody would
itself.
they'd probably sell themselves to some other company, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? But SoundCloud's the only place where you can like almost hear DJ-ish music, right? So
What's is there the next SoundCloud? Is there something
people
for people to go to, like the
said
new
some
DJs?
stuff, but like Mixcloud was one, but like
they haven't taken off.
yeah, it's not even about taking off.
Yeah.
Man, this is about domination. It's you know what I mean? It's not out there for the artists. You know what I mean? There's hundreds and thousands and millions of people doing this.
Yeah.
So
then if the new upcoming DJ who's just starting out isn't going to the internet, where are they going? What are they doing?
They need to do an organic thing. Have a house party. You know, play some music for your friends. If it's okay, cool. But like, that's how I started, and like people liked it. And I was handling the music the whole night. If people come up every 5 minutes and want to plug their phone in to play their own song, then you got different problems. Okay. You know what I mean? And I don't, to be honest, I feel like DJing is dead a little bit. I don't want to be negative, but that's how it feels. And
but maybe is that a good time for then somebody who, because it is kind of dead, the standout person who is kind of coming up to be like, hey, I'm going to give them something different. Now's the time to kind of...
I mean, if they're going to give me something different, they better blow me the fuck out of the water. There's nothing different anyone can do right now. I mean, I'm trying to like... I hope it's some weird space music that you don't know what's happening, but you can hear it. You know, I don't know what it would be. I think everybody should make music and do music, but the saturation is just a bit gnarly. And I think if you really care, if you're in a community and you're at house parties and you like DJing, make a DJ mix. You know, send it to a few people. Like, I mean, it took me 8 years before I got a show that paid me. Okay. So like, it wasn't about making money, and it's never about making money.
Some people it might be, but
well, that's the problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
And that's where it is these days. These people, they buy all their followers, and then they get some marketing team or they get a manager, right? So they start paying other people, and they're like, well, if we don't make 8K this month, then we got to fire people. So like, well, how do we make 8K?
Yeah.
So then they start kind of bastardizing the process, and it's pretty wild.
Have you seen that with people like go through that whole?
Yeah, I mean, when I met people, when I would go around and play shows, like my ethos was just different. It was just different, and I wasn't ready to. I don't know. I wasn't. It's just it didn't. None of it felt natural.
Well, I would say a lot of the people doing it for money too, that like it's not because their motivation isn't pure. It's not as good. Like it just doesn't come off as good, generally speaking.
And that's usually what you find.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see a 95% saturation of this type of music. And, every single new rap video that's at the top of the little YouTube list, where they get a couple million plays in a day, and it's like, I can't decipher which one is the other one, but there's still, like, this is probably going to be one of the most best music times of our life, too, because of this conflict and constraints, but you're talking about bands. I don't think you're going to talk about DJs. That's such a weird faded word that all DJs now want to go by an artist name. Okay. You know what I mean? They don't want to be DJ A-Track or DJ Skrillex, right? Yeah. Think about it's the whole branding thing.
They don't
everybody's got to be a brand. They got to put a 3 or a backwards R in their name. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we're not a brand and we're not a face and we're not like giving you big noise and fireworks, you know, that's why I was like, I don't want to be around these people.
Yeah.
I met a few of them and they're like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, you have friends like that, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I don't think I want to be in that world.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to be.
Okay.
So.
Thanks for watching. There's lots more content coming your way, so make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes delivered directly to you.